We often live as if we have an infinite supply of time, don't we? Days bleed into weeks, weeks into months, and before we realize it, years have slipped through our hands like sand. The cruel irony is, while we all know time is finite, many of us still treat it as if it's endlessly abundant. We distract ourselves with trivialities, chase fleeting pleasures, and avoid the discomfort of asking ourselves the hard questions. Why? Is it fear? Is it ignorance? Or is it something more insidious, perhaps a refusal to confront the sheer fragility and impermanence of our existence? I want you to pause for a moment and really think about this. How much of your day is spent doing things that truly matter? Not to your boss, not to your friends, not to society, but to you. How often do you find yourself lost in a haze of scrolling, complaining, procrastinating, or seeking validation from others? If you're honest, you'll admit, just as I have had to admit, that much of what we do is utterly meaningless in the grand scheme of things. This isn't meant to be a judgment. It's a wake-up call, because whether you realize it or not, you are completely wasting your time. And if you don't stop now, if you don't recalibrate your focus, you may find yourself waking up one day, perhaps at 30, 40, or 70, and wondering where it all went. Wondering why you feel so empty, despite having followed all the rules, climbed all the ladders, and checked all the boxes. Let's take a deeper dive into this, and I promise, by the end of this journey, you'll see time and life in a completely new way.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
The illusion of forever. You see, one of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is that there's always more time. I'll start tomorrow, we say. I'll work on my dreams next year. I'll spend time with my loved ones when things settle down. But here's the cold, hard truth: tomorrow is a fantasy. It doesn't exist. It's a construct your mind creates to let you avoid doing what matters right now. Think back to a year ago. What were you putting off then? Did you ever get to it? Or did it quietly dissolve into the background noise of your life, replaced by new distractions and excuses? The pattern repeats, doesn't it? We become masters of delay, experts in avoiding discomfort. But in doing so, we fail to see that every choice we make, every moment we waste, is a moment we'll never get back. Here's a haunting question: if you were told you had 1 year left to live, how would your priorities change? Would you keep scrolling on social media? Would you keep saying yes to people who drain your energy? Would you keep playing it safe, afraid of failure, while your dreams rot inside you? Or would you finally start living as if your time mattered? The problem is, most of us don't think this way. We act as if we're invincible, as if the clock isn't ticking. But let me share a sobering thought: every second that passes is a second closer to your last. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to wake you up. Because the moment you truly understand this, you'll stop wasting your time on things that don't align with your deepest values. But let's be honest, acknowledging this truth isn't easy. It forces us to confront our mortality, our failures, and the uncomfortable fact that we've been complicit in our own stagnation. It's much easier to distract ourselves, isn't it? To fill the void with entertainment, gossip, and endless busywork. But distraction is a thief. It steals your focus, your energy, and ultimately your life. So ask yourself right now, what am I avoiding? What truth about my life am I unwilling to face? And more importantly, why? This is where the real work begins, not in blaming others, not in wishing for better circumstances, but in taking radical responsibility for how you spend your time. Because here's the thing: no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. It's entirely up to you to claim it. And the first step is to stop squandering the one resource you'll never get back: the cost of distraction. Have you ever stopped to calculate how much of your day is stolen by distractions? Think about it. How often do you reach for your phone, not because you need to, but because you're bored, restless, or avoiding something? How many hours do you spend consuming content that adds no real value to your life? How much mental energy do you waste worrying about things you can't control? What others think of you, what might go wrong, or whether you're good enough? Distraction isn't just about technology. It's about anything that pulls your attention away from what truly matters. It's the endless cycle of gossip, comparison, and trivial pursuits. It's the mindless routines we fall into because they're comfortable, even if they're unfulfilling. And every time we give in to distraction, we pay a price. That price is our potential. Imagine your attention as a currency. Every time you spend it on something meaningless, you have less to invest in what truly matters: your growth, your passions, your relationships, and your purpose. And here's the kicker: most of us don't even realize we're bankrupting ourselves. We justify our distractions by saying, "I deserve to relax," or "it's just a few minutes," but those minutes add up. Over a lifetime, they become years. Here's a radical idea. What if you treated your attention as sacred? What if you protected it as fiercely as you protect your money or your possessions? Because in reality, your attention is far more valuable. It's the foundation of your entire life. What you focus on grows. What you neglect withers. So if you're constantly focused on distractions, what kind of life do you think you're creating? But let's dig deeper. Why are we so drawn to distraction in the first place? I believe it's because distraction offers an escape. It allows us to avoid the discomfort of being present with ourselves. Because when we're truly present, we're forced to confront our fears, our insecurities, and the gap between who we are and who we want to be. And let's face it, that's terrifying. But here's the paradox: the very discomfort we're avoiding is the key to our growth. It's in facing our fears, not running from them, that we find clarity and strength. It's in sitting with our discomfort that we discover who we really are. So, the next time you feel the urge to distract yourself, pause. Ask yourself, what am I running from? And more importantly, what would happen if I stopped running? Living with intention. If you've made it this far, I want to commend you. Because at this point, you're beginning to see the truth: your time is your life, and wasting it is nothing short of a tragedy. But awareness alone isn't enough. You need a plan. You need to take action. Otherwise, this realization will fade, and you'll slip back into old patterns. So let's talk about how to live with intention. The first step is to get crystal clear on your values. What truly matters to you. Not what society says should matter, not what your parents or friends expect, but what you, deep in your soul, know to be important. Write it down. Be honest, and then ask yourself, am I living in alignment with these values? If the answer is no, don't beat yourself up. Use it as fuel to make a change. Next, audit your time. Track how you spend your days for a week and be brutally honest. How much of your time is spent on things that align with your values? How much is wasted on distractions? This exercise can be uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly empowering. Because once you see where your time is going, you can start to take it back. But living with intention isn't just about cutting out distractions. It's also about making space for what truly matters. It's about dedicating time to your passions, your relationships, and your personal growth. It's about saying no to what drains you so you can say yes to what fuels you. And yes, this will require sacrifices. You may have to let go of old habits, toxic relationships, or even certain comforts. But the trade-off is worth it, because the life you'll gain is far richer than the one you're leaving behind. Here's one final question to ponder if you knew your time was running out. How would you live differently? Would you finally take that leap of faith? Would you have that difficult conversation? Would you let go of what's holding you back? The truth is, your time is running out, and the sooner you accept this, the sooner you can start living fully. So I challenge you, stop wasting your time. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop letting fear and distraction rule your life. You have everything you need to create a life of meaning and fulfillment, but it starts with a choice. Will you make it? The price of doing nothing. Time isn't just slipping away, it's being traded. Every second you spend doing something irrelevant, you're trading away the chance to do something meaningful. The cost isn't just the missed opportunity in that moment, it's the ripple effect. What you could have learned, built, or experienced in that time might have set the stage for something extraordinary. Instead, it gets lost in the noise, and you're left with the same life you had yesterday, wondering why nothing ever changes. Think about the moments you've spent stuck in indecision, just sitting there weighing your options, doing nothing. What has that achieved? We're so afraid of making the wrong decision that we often make no decision at all. But here's the truth: doing nothing is a decision. Avoiding action is still a choice, it's just one with no momentum, no forward movement. And the longer you stay in that place, the further behind you fall. What's worse, the longer you avoid taking action, the more you normalize it. It becomes your default mode. You tell yourself, I'll figure it out later, but later is a mirage. It's always just out of reach. Those dreams you had at 18, the ones you thought you'd achieve by 25, they won't happen on their own. The career you're dissatisfied with, the relationships that feel hollow, the health you've been neglecting, these don't fix themselves. Change isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to do something, anything, to break the cycle. Here's the uncomfortable truth: life doesn't pause while you figure things out. It keeps moving. And if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. There's no neutral ground. Every day you delay, you're not just staying still, you're losing ground to the person you could have been. So what's stopping you? Is it fear of failure? Fear of judgment? Fear of realizing you're not as capable as you'd like to believe? Let's be honest, those fears aren't going anywhere. They'll always be there, lurking in the background, whispering every excuse in the book. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't that one is fearless. It's that one acts despite the fear, while the other lets it dictate their life. Most of us think we need to feel ready before we can act. But readiness is an illusion. You won't feel ready because action is what creates readiness. Confidence, clarity, competence, these don't come first. They come as a result of doing the hard thing, of stepping into the unknown. Waiting to feel ready is just another excuse to delay, another way to avoid responsibility for your own life. What are you even chasing? Let's shift gears for a second. Have you ever stopped to think about why you're doing what you're doing? Why are you chasing the things you're chasing? Most people don't. They wake up, go through the motions, and follow the script society handed them without ever questioning if it's what they actually want. They focus on getting the promotion, buying the car, Achieving the title because that's what they've been told will make them happy. But does it? How many times have you achieved something you thought would change everything, only to feel the same emptiness creeping back in? The truth is, most of what we chase is hollow. It's like drinking seawater. When you're thirsty, it feels like it should help, but it only leaves you more parched. The problem isn't the goals themselves. It's the fact that most of them aren't even ours. They're borrowed. We pursue what we think will make us look successful, or what will win us approval, or what will keep us safe from criticism. But none of those things ever satisfy. They can't, because they're external. They're superficial. Real fulfillment doesn't come from chasing what everyone else says you should want. It comes from figuring out what actually matters to you and building your life around that. But let's not sugarcoat it. That's hard. It's uncomfortable to admit that the life you've been working so hard for might not even be the one you want. It's scary to think about starting over, or changing direction, or letting go of the things you've used to define yourself. But what's the alternative? To keep going, knowing deep down that you're on the wrong path. To wake up at 50, 60, or 70 and realize you've built a life that doesn't even feel like yours. It doesn't matter how far down the wrong road you've gone. You can always turn around. But the longer you wait, the harder it gets. The more time you invest in something that isn't right for you, the more you'll feel trapped by it. And that's why it's so important to stop wasting your time now before the weight of your own choices becomes too heavy to bear. The freedom of letting go. One of the biggest reasons we waste time is because we're afraid to let go. We hold on to things that no longer serve us, relationships, habits, beliefs, even identities, because we're scared of what life will look like without them. But here's the thing, holding on to the wrong things doesn't keep you safe. It keeps you stuck. Think about the things you're clinging to right now. Maybe it's a toxic friendship you're afraid to end because you don't want to be alone. Maybe it's a job you hate because it pays well, or a dream that no longer excites you but feels too important to abandon. How much of your life is being spent holding on to things that are weighing you down? Letting go isn't easy. It requires you to face uncertainty, to step into the unknown, to accept that some things, maybe even some people, aren't meant to be part of your future. But it's also liberating. Because every time you let go of something that isn't right for you, you make space for something that is. You free up your time, your energy, and your focus for the things that actually matter. Here's a hard truth: you can't do everything. You can't be everything. And you definitely can't please everyone. Time is limited. Energy is finite. The only way to make the most of your life is to get crystal clear on what's worth your time and ruthlessly cut out the rest. That's not selfish. That's survival. So ask yourself right here, right now, what's one thing you're ready to let go of? What's one thing that's been stealing your time, your energy, or your peace? Whatever it is, make the decision. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Because the longer you hold on, the more it costs you. The only thing that matters. At the end of the day, life isn't about how much you achieve, how much you earn, or how much approval you get. It's about how you feel when you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed at night. It's about whether you're proud of the way you spent your time, whether you're excited about the life you're building, and whether you feel at peace with the person you're becoming. If you strip everything else away, the only thing that really matters is this: are you living in a way that feels true to you? If the answer is no, what are you waiting for? No one is going to hand you permission to live your life. No one is going to tell you it's okay to stop chasing the things you don't care about. That's on you. The sooner you stop wasting your time on things that don't matter, the sooner you can start living a life that does. And the best part, it's not too late. It's never too late. Whether you're 20, 30, or 70, you can make the decision right now to stop wasting your time, to stop letting fear, distraction, and other people's expectations run your life, to start living in a way that feels real, meaningful, and alive. So the question isn't whether you're wasting your time. The question is whether you're willing to stop. Will you?